just let me know using the chat box that you can hear me, everything is working okay, and that you can see the presentation deck on the screen. As soon as you guys let me know that in the chat, we can kick things off and get everything started. Okay, great. So, hello, Nicholas, Corey, Ernesto. Looks like we have a few other people typing away too, so it seems as though everything is working, which is awesome. We're a couple minutes past the start time, so I won't hang around for much longer. We'll give it like 1 or 2 minutes more before we dive into just getting started with everything. But in the meantime, it'd be great to ask a few of you a couple of questions. So my first question for all of you is, have you been on one of these webinars as part of the Agency and Freelancer Academy before? Give me a yes in the chat if you have. Give me a no if this is your first time here. Great. Okay, so it looks like we have good mix of people. So we have Korma, who's been here before, Nicholas first time, Ernesto first time, Greg first time, Michael's been here. Oh no, Michael's first time too. Aluna has been here before, Karma been here before. Great. So it looks like we have a really good mix of people today, which is great, which is really exciting. So I'll tell you a bit more about this webinar series in a couple slides time. One more question, and then we will kick everything off. We'll jump straight into the webinar after this one. So how many of you are currently customers of Promo Republics and use Promo Republic? Give me a yes if you do, give me a no if you don't. And when I ask that question, I mean whether you're a customer of the standard solution, the agency solution, either way, it'd be really good to just see the breakdown. So I'm seeing a lot of yeses, which is good news. I'm assuming most of those are kind of standard level customers. I can see Christopher is an agency customer, which is great. Welcome, Christopher. We have some no's too. So again, it looks like we have a really good mix of people, which is awesome. So let's kick today's webinar off. Let's start things. And if anyone else kind of joins a few minutes after the start time, then they will just have to catch up with everything as we go. So today's webinar, we're going to be talking about some lead generation kind of hacks, tips, tricks to help you grow your agency in 2019. And this is the agenda. This is what we're going to talk about today. So we'll talk about inbound versus outbound marketing for your agency, for your business. We'll talk about 5 lead generation hacks, and then we will do a brief Q&A session at the end. And please make sure you do stick around right to the very end for the Q&A session, because we will also be sharing details with you about how you can get access to a very special piece of content. So if some of you have been on this webinar series before, you'll know about this, but if you're new, we have put together a resource, a guide of over 45 or 50 different tools and resources that can help you build and grow your agency or your freelancer business. And I'll be sharing with you how you can get your hands on that resource if you hang around to the very end of this webinar. So make sure you do that. Okay, before we get into me introducing myself, I would love to know a little bit more about some of the agencies that you run, and maybe the kind of size they are. So give me in the chat box, let me know how many employees or how big your team is at your agency at the moment. And if you are just starting out and it's just you, that is also totally fine. Don't worry, we all have to start somewhere, right? I'm just really keen to see kind of how advanced people are on this call, on this webinar, sizes of the business that we're talking about. Okay, great. So it looks like, again, we have a mix of kind of freelancers or single agency owners, some with 12 employees. Ernesto says Greg has 3 team members. Corey says 2 of them, 3 employees. Okay, great. Awesome. So we have a good mix. Okay, cool. So this is me. If any of you haven't been on, there was 5 or 6 of you, and probably more that didn't write in the chat box that said you haven't been here before. So my name is Dylan Hay, and just like a number of you, I am also a digital marketing agency owner. So I run a paid acquisition agency. We manage paid ads campaigns on Google and Facebook for a number of SaaS businesses and software companies. Before setting up my agency in May of last year, it's just been a year now since I've been running on my own. Before doing that, I worked for a couple of companies you might have heard of, like Hootsuite and Leadfeeder. I also used to host a podcast called The Social Media Growth Show. I am not a full-time employee with Promo Republic. I'm not an employee of theirs at all. I am here to help lead some of the content pieces for the Agency and Freelancer Academy they put together. So if you don't know, Promo Republic launched an incredible new solution and new angle to their tool last year, which was focused specifically on agency owners, so a solution specifically for people just like you and me. And as part of that launch, they really wanted to invest a lot of time and energy into making sure they were the leading resource and really helping other agency owners and freelancers within the social media marketing space. And one of the ways to do that was through this Agency and Freelancer Academy. So we've done well over 25 webinars now. We do one every 2 weeks. We have a number of great blog posts and guides that go out on the new and improved Promo Republic blog. We also host online summits every so often. So the last one we did, I think, was in January. We'll be doing another one towards the end of June, where we had speakers from a number of different leading companies and leading agencies too. And yeah, I'm just fortunate enough to be able to guide this and lead on some of the webinars, as well as running my own agency. I do have like an education and training business too, where I help coach and support other agency owners and other freelancers as well. So to Korma's question, all the webinars are recorded, and you will receive I believe, an email with the link to all of those. And if not, you can check on the Promo Republic YouTube channel. I think they're all uploaded there too. Okay, so that's enough about me. The focus of these webinars is ultimately providing you with as much value as possible and helping you either grow your business, grow your agency, give you some support in some of the day-to-day management of the agency, and of course, answer questions for all of you. I will also share a little bit about the Promo Republic agency solution with you. I'm not going to do a full in-depth demo and walkthrough, but I will show the agency solution for a couple of minutes because it's really important and it often ties into what we're talking about on these webinars as well. So if you're ready to move forward, if you want to get started, if you want to get into the kind of chunk of this webinar, then give me a yes in the chat box. And once we have a few of those, we will really kick on. You can probably tell by now, I like to be very interactive with these webinars. It's very important that you don't just have to sit there and listen to me for the whole time. I want to make sure we keep the conversation going throughout the webinar because we're all here to help and support each other. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of yeses. I just have to set up one additional thing here in the webinar software that doesn't seem to be working for me right now. So give me 10-15 seconds and then we should be good to go. Okay, everyone. So can you just let me know for 2 seconds if there is a button appearing on the screen that says something like schedule your call today and then a big button that says learn more. Can you let me know if that's appearing? Yep, great. Okay, perfect. So if at any point throughout the webinar, I'll put this button up maybe 2 times. We'll talk about this more in depth later on, but if at any point you do want to learn a bit more about the agency solution and how it can help you grow your business and improve your agency workflow, then you can just hit that learn more button and it will take you through to a link where you can schedule a call with someone in the Promo Republic team where they'll be able to answer any of your questions, guide you through the solution, show you what it looks like. Not going to be a big sales pitch, don't worry about that. But anyone that schedules a call using the link that I share on this webinar, you'll get a special discount on the webinar. You will also, if you go through and end up becoming a customer of the agency solution, you'll have the opportunity to schedule in a like one-to-one consulting call with me as well if you need to, and you'll also be given a few other resources too. So do you want to find out more about the agency solution, what we're thinking about it, they have this button up now and it will come up again maybe one more time. We set it up so that only 5 calls can be scheduled using this link from people on the webinar. So once it's done, the link or the button will stop working. You won't be able to schedule a call. So if you are interested, then make sure you go ahead and do that. So I see James says, is this discount available to AppSumo users? James, I'm not sure. You'd have to talk with the team because this is for the agency solution. So you wouldn't get, I don't think you'd get like a further discount because you're an AppSumo customer, but it's a discount on the like retail price of the agency solution. So if you come from the webinar, I'm sure it would still be honored, but you'd have to double check. Okay, Sandra says there's no button. So if one person can just click it and let me know that it works, because it seems that James can see it, and then we'll move forward and kick on. Because now we're ready. And I know the call to action just removed because it was only up for a minute. Okay, great. Thanks, James. So before we get into the lead generation hacks, I wanted to talk about this topic. So inbound versus outbound marketing for your agency, kind of share some of my opinions on this and give some advice as well. Where I want to ask you, or where are your leads coming from when you're growing your agency and your business, whether you're just getting started, whether you're at a point where some of you have 12, 15 employees, how are you generating leads? Is it coming to you? Are they coming to you from referrals? Maybe you're doing cold email, you're doing phone calls, you've got some really good SEO going on your site. Like, where are your leads coming from for your agency at the moment? I'd be really interested to find that out. Great. So we have a good combination. So some people saying networking, search engine marketing, social ads, Facebook ads, networking, social media, 90% LinkedIn, warm contacts, networking. Great. Huge variety as I expected. So as I said, before we talk about lead generation hacks, it's really important to cover the different strategies behind marketing our agencies. And ultimately, in one way or another, it falls into one of two buckets, either inbound marketing or outbound marketing. So this right here is an example of inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is a marketing approach that is, in my opinion, adapted to the modern buyer, because on average now people do like 70% of their research on a new product or service before they ever want to contact the company. They're spending time researching. And inbound marketing is designed to bring potential customers to your business who are actively in that market, actively doing that research. And it's all about being found where, when, and where they're looking. So rather than forcing your message on people who might not be interested in what you're trying to do, you're getting your message in front of people who are interested. So another way of looking at this is like looking at inbound marketing as though it's designed to align your marketing and your organization with the buyer's journey, the typical process that they go through. And that's usually going from the awareness stage through to the consideration stage through to the decision stage. So I find like this on the left-hand side is a message that I received from a someone that went on to become a client of my agency over here. And you can see that they reached out, they connected with me. I asked what it was that led to the connection on LinkedIn, and one thing led to another. We ended up having a conversation, and they became a client of ours. And the reason they connected with me was because of a post that I shared on LinkedIn, some of the content that I'm actively promoting, and which we'll get to and we'll talk about later. So for me, inbound marketing is a great channel. I find that leads that come to me through inbound marketing are often the easiest ones to close because they are already aware of who I am and what my agency is all about, or they were already looking for a solution. We're not just hoping that we've hit them with the right message at the right time. I think it's like, we'll talk about what I prefer further on into this webinar, but for me, inbound marketing works very, very well depending on what stage you're at within your business, right? If you're just starting out and you need clients quickly, inbound marketing maybe isn't going to be the fastest route to success and the fastest path to revenue for you. But it's something that should always be at the back of your mind. It should always be a long-term project, because as you start to scale, this is a very scalable channel if done correctly. So this is just like a little bit about inbound marketing. I know we could go super in depth. There could be a whole webinar all about inbound marketing, a whole webinar about outbound marketing, but I just want to cover the basics before we get into the lead generation tips and tricks and hacks, because it is really important to cover this and decide how you want to approach things as an agency and as a business. So with outbound marketing, this is like a screen capture from one of the outbound marketing tools that we use, and as opposed to inbound marketing, in this instance, you're marketing to people who you don't know if they're looking for a solution like yours, right? You're trying to reach as many people as possible, whether or not they're active buyers, and making sure that they match with your target persona, but just offering a solution or trying to get them onto a call based on who they are and what they do. You don't know that they're actually looking. So in general, outbound marketing tends to be marketing to a larger volume of less targeted people, and it can be through a variety of tactics. So things like LinkedIn out messaging, outbound emails. It can be through PPC ads, through commercials, through print ads, through cold calling, direct mail, if you're still doing that kind of stuff. And unlike inbound marketing, outbound doesn't normally take the buyer's journey into consideration. As I've said, you're just hoping to be in the right place at the right time with the right message. And don't get me wrong, it works. Like, in my opinion, it is definitely a numbers game. Outflow equals inflow. The more you send out, if the quality is right, the more you're likely to bring in. It's often high volume and at scale, so it is less targeted, but it can be faster to see quick wins. But of course, it does have its own negatives. Like if you're trying to generate the first client for your agency, I always recommend to go heavy on outbound, like combine a number of different emails, LinkedIn messages, video audits, going and meeting people, like all of this stuff combined, because this is your best chance of bringing in your early clients because you're going to be there and active. As you start to scale and grow, it may not be something that you want to do all of the time. Like you may not need to. For me right now, with my agency, we still run outbound marketing all the time because it's generating really good results for us because we're very specific now with our targeting and with our messaging. You don't just want to blanket the same poor message to a ton of people, because with outbound marketing, it all comes down to the messaging. Like you're never going to see results if your copywriting and your messaging is very, very poor. So what should you be focusing on? As I said a minute ago, I think it really depends on how you want your agency to be set up and structured in terms of scalability and where you're at within your journey at the moment. I think anyone that says either inbound or outbound is superior is definitely giving you a biased answer based on where they're at the current period of time. I think to determine which one is best, you have to consider your specific business, your audience, your marketing objectives, etc. And for me, the best thing is to combine both of these. Like now my agency is starting to grow, we're going to be putting a lot more time and effort and energy into our inbound marketing. Like we're going to be launching a new website very soon. We're going to be launching some new SEO focused projects. And this is going to be a really important piece for our continued growth. So for me, it's all about finding that perfect combination. I'd love to hear what some of you think. So please go ahead and use the chat section. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on what we've covered so far, actually. Just while I take a sip of water. Great. So I can see a few of you typing away, which is cool. So Nicholas says, I agree, using both is a good idea. Travis likes to use inbound from LinkedIn. Ernesto says outbound should be better at the top of the funnel actions. Yeah, it kind of depends, Ernesto, really, because inbound is great for top of funnel stuff if you're warming people up with content. Whereas, yeah, it just depends on how you approach it. As Corey says, inbound is awesome, but it's extremely time consuming. Yeah, that's true. But I think once you've set the groundwork with inbound, then it does become time consuming. And if you hire out and get the right people doing the right work, then it won't be too time consuming. It takes more time to begin with. I would definitely agree with that. Okay. Okay, Ernesto says it's not only the method but the cost. Yeah, I agree. Okay, cool. So this is meant to be a moving picture, but for some reason it's not working. So it's meant to be spinning around. And I was going to say, let's fast forward a little, right? So once you have your kind of scalable lead generation process in place and it's consistently bringing in those leads for you and you start working with more and more clients, there's going to be, especially for those of you who have a smaller agency, or maybe even those of you who have like 12, 15 people, you might be starting to face this roadblock now where it's like, okay, we're bringing in these clients, we're closing these deals, but maybe we're losing some of these clients, or we're having issues communicating with these clients effectively. And this is so important because when you bring in these clients, you want to keep them, right? You want to keep them for the long term. You don't want to be losing them. And one of the biggest reasons that people lose their clients is due to like poor communication or bad communication. And I've had this issue myself in the past. It's something that I'm still needing to improve within our business for sure, is that not just the client communication and the client collaboration, but also the whole kind of onboarding process, etc. And we did a survey, the Premier Republic team did a survey recently. I can see Travis says he's lost audio. So can anyone else let me know, can confirm or deny whether the audio has dropped out? Because in the webinar software, it's telling me everything is still fine. So, okay, cool. Maybe it's just Travis that has a problem. But recently we did a survey of all of our customers and previous users, a really big survey, and we found that 78% of agencies actually named the approval process as the most time-consuming and problematic part of their kind of day-to-day, right? So I have a question for you. When it comes to those people that have social media marketing agencies that are doing social media management for their clients, how many of you collaborate with your clients by creating, let's say, a monthly content calendar in a Google Drive file, Google Doc file, and then sending it to them via email and waiting for them to come back with some feedback, and then you go away and action that feedback, and you go backwards and forwards on email asking for approval on things, etc. Um, how many of you have a process like that? Okay, Sandra doesn't, which is great. Anessa says that happens all the time. Karma has done that in the past. We've done that as well. Don't have a consistent process right now. Okay. Because I know that that's the way that some people will be working. It comes up a lot on these webinars and in calls that I do with other agency owners. And it can be really difficult, right? So one way of improving this issue, this problem, is through utilizing a good piece of collaboration software, if you want to call it that, or having a really great central hub where you can manage all of this stuff across your client accounts. Now, I do want to show you very, very quickly part of the Promo Republic agency solution just for a couple of minutes, and then we will continue and get into the lead generation tips and tricks and hacks, because I think this is going to be really interesting for a number of you and insightful for a number of you. So I will start sharing the screen in a second, but before I do that, I'm going to bring the call to action button back on the screen, and I'll leave it on the screen for 5 minutes. So if at any point throughout this you do want to go ahead and schedule a call and take a look at what we're talking about, then you can do that. Actually, I'm just going to have to hide it for 2 seconds whilst I share the screen, because otherwise it won't work. Let's try it. Okay, so bear with me, everyone, just while I open up the screen sharing section of the webinar software. And if you could let me, once you can see what looks like a dashboard. Great. Okay, so people are saying they can see it. And can you also see the call to action button on the screen? Is that working? If not, we can just bring it back up later on. Great. Okay, awesome. So this is the Promo Republic agency solution. Now, one of the great things about this is that it is fully customizable. Like, you can completely white label everything that you see. Here, I can see someone says it's a little bit small on the phone, but that's always going to be the case. So hopefully it's okay for everyone who's on a computer. The great thing about the agency solution of Promo Republic is you can completely white label everything. So you see the top bar up here is pink and it has this love. This is because we originally set this up as like a dummy account when I did the webinar over Valentine's Day, so we thought it would tie in nicely. But you can white label all of this, even the URL up here too. So this can be your like central hub for all of your agency clients. The white label part of this tool is really incredible. Imagine how your clients would view you if instead of sending them Google Docs, you could give them access to their own your own fully white labeled solution where they come in, they see your agency branding, they see that you're managing everything. Incredible tool like this for them. It's going to make you look a lot more professional, a lot more organized, and that increases the perceived value of your service too. So you'll be able to start charging more for that kind of thing as well. So yeah, fully white labeled. Now, I'm not going to show you everything to do with the agency solution. There's some really great bits and pieces to it, but I'm just going to show you a couple of key features around client collaboration to save you more time, so you can spend more time on more important tasks within your business, but also improve the relationships that you have with your clients, because that is really, really important. The longer you can keep a client for, the better, right? The more value they bring to you. So we'll cover the client collaboration. I'll quickly show you one or two other things, but then if you have any other questions, go ahead and use the booking link to schedule a call if there are any calls left still, because I know we have 30 people on this webinar and there are only 5 calls available. But you can use this as a content planner, content calendar. Right now mine is empty because, as I said, it's a dummy account. But let's say I was creating the content calendar for my client. I would do it in here and you'd be able to view everything daily, weekly, monthly. We even have a tab here for upcoming events. So all of the kind of national days and events are all tracked here within Promo Republic. So you can see today is Europe Day, National Butterscotch Brownie Day. Like, look at all of these different things that you can use as inspiration for social posts, and there's even pre-created templates for you that you can go in and utilize. So if you're new to Promo Republic, if you haven't seen it before, instead of having to go away and create something in Canva or Adobe Spark and then download it and then go and upload it to your scheduling tool, everything is done within Promo Republic. You can edit everything here, which I'll show you a bit later on, but we have this incredible library of all these different backgrounds you can use. We have all these different content ideas, pre-made templates, over 100,000. There are new ones added every single month. And with the agency solution, you can include all of your branding in here for your different clients too. So you can quickly come in, play around with these, change them around, schedule them directly from here, use them, etc. So that's one thing. I'm not sure if it's actually appearing on the screen share. I can just see my little screen sharing icon. It looks like we're just still at the dashboard, which is a shame. So maybe the screen share doesn't work for the little pop-out box. I'm not too sure, but hopefully you could see what I'm talking about. If you can't, I'm very sorry. Can you just let me know if you can see the like post ideas on the screen right now? Hopefully my screen is just lagging a bit and actually you can see it all. You can't see it. Okay, that's a real shame. Okay. So let me see if we can fix this, because I want you to be able to see this, because this is really, really important, actually. Let's try now. Okay, so can you see now? Let me know. I'm just sharing a portion of the screen now instead of the whole thing. Yeah, okay, awesome. So you picked up based on what I was saying, but this is the way you can create all the different templates that we have. You can come in and edit everything, etc. in this library of images. There's over 100,000 different ideas here, all fully editable, etc. So that's that. And then the main thing that I wanted to walk you through is once you come up with these posts, once you schedule them. So let's go, say we wanted to use this post. There's an option here to schedule or to propose this post for approval. So you can propose this for approval and then schedule it, put the time and date. You can also use our repeating posts feature. So you can repeat it daily, weekly, choose which days, how long you repeat it for, etc. And when you set it for approval, this is when your client will be notified that there's a new post that they can come over and view in the calendar. So they can either just approve it immediately, they can edit it, they can make suggestions. So much faster, much better looking than backwards and forwards over email, and keeping everything in one place is really great and really smooth too. So this is the client collaboration feature. This is what it looks like and how it works. I'm just going to remove this post because I don't want this going out on my social channels, but you guys hopefully get the idea behind this. So this is how you can collaborate with your clients much faster and much better. Also built into Promo Republic alongside the stuff that I showed you already is this post ideas library. So you can see post ideas based on upcoming events, days of the week, topics, etc. Recommended ones for you based on your previous activity. Animations here if you want to take a look at these, different articles, and all of these can be filtered too. So you can search by keyword up here in the top right hand side. All this kind of stuff. And then there is also, I'm not going to show them now, but as part of the agency solution, you can also offer monitoring for your clients. So you can start to offer that as an additional service. We have a monitoring section within the dashboard, the incoming comments and messages, and respond to them from Promo Republic. There is also an analytics and reporting section too, with some good white label reports, etc. So lots of different things there. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen right now because, as I said, I don't want this webinar demo of Promo Republic. So let's get back into the lead generation hacks. And presentation is back on the screen, and then we will continue on. So Karma, you can just give them access, like as any other tool. Like they'll have a login. Great. Okay, everyone. So let's get into the 5 lead generation hacks. They'll be fairly quick, and then we will go to Q&A, and that'll be it for the webinar. So another 10 minutes or so, and we will wrap everything up. So yeah, they won't see other clients' info. They'll have their own section. You can you can have like a workspace for each of your clients. So they're all stored separate workspaces that you can switch between. So really useful, and I think they'll love it. But you can see it in its full glory if you schedule a call with the team. So I'm going to share 5 lead generation hacks. These are more like tips. Just hacks is a nice word that everyone seems to get excited about. These are 5 things that I think you can implement to help you drive additional leads for your business, and I'll explain them as we go. So the first one is through video email outreach. How many of you have ever utilized video emails to send to your clients? This one here is an example of one that I sent a long time ago, a few months ago. I use these both for prospecting and also for client communication. So a good example for client communication is actually last night I needed to, like a client of mine sent me an email, I needed to respond. It would have taken ages to write an email, and it would have been much clearer if I could just talk to them. But I didn't want to set up a phone call because I didn't need to do that. So I just recorded a Loom video, recording my screen, explaining everything that was going on, and sent it off to them. So great for client communication. But video email outreach can be extremely useful and powerful for lead generation too. So the way that we recommend using this is, let's say you're running social media ads for clients, or you're doing their social media management. Bring up their social pages on the screen, have you in the bottom corner, just give them some free advice, prove that you're an expert, show them what they can be doing and how they can be doing it, and then let them know that it's a service that you guys offer. And this can be a great way to stand out in someone's inbox and really make a difference from the other cold emails that they're receiving, and also to just show your authority too. And if they see you on a video, it's going to be much easier throughout the sales process with them, because they already feel like they know you. So this is number 1. If you haven't tried this already, I really would recommend doing this. You can use a Chrome extension called Loom to record these, or Vidyard. I can see that Greg says he uses BombBomb. There's all different kinds of tools that let you record videos, screen share, and then just embed the video straight into an email. Michael says Dub. I think Dub recently did an AppSumo deal. It might still be running, so if you want to go ahead and grab that, you can, but Loom is totally free, so up to you. But this is one thing that I do a lot of, and I think more and more people are starting to do this. I've been doing this for like 4 years, 3-4 years since I worked at Hootsuite. We were one of the first companies to use these tools before Loom even existed. We were one of Vidyard's first partners. So we've been using this for a long time when I worked there, and now it's becoming more and more popular. But if you start doing this, you'll still be ahead of the curve, and it's a good way for you to stand out. So the second method that I want to talk about is linked lead generation. Now, talking about this from a messaging perspective, not a content perspective. We'll talk about content later on. I know some of you are using LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is a great place for outbound messaging, a really great place to connect with people. 1 of every 3 business people have their own LinkedIn profile. You can see here 44% of LinkedIn users generate over $75 per year. Like, there's your target buyer, your target market will be on LinkedIn. It's a very easy place to find them, to identify with them, to message them, reach out to them, build good relationships with them. So if you're not already using LinkedIn to connect with people and to genuinely network, then I would really recommend you go ahead and start doing that. Don't just use it as a CV sharing or like an online CV resume platform. You can get much more out of this. And this ties in my third point, which is sharing helpful, useful content. So I don't know, hopefully you can read this on the screen. I'm not too sure, but this screenshot on the right hand side is actually a LinkedIn post that I wrote 2 days ago. So what are we today? Thursday. I wrote this on Tuesday and I shared it, and it's very tailored towards my target buyer. So if you can't read it, it says, would you happily spend $17 if you knew it was going to make you $800? That's what we're doing for one of our clients. If you're a SaaS founder and you're not running competitor campaigns on Google Ads, then you're turning away easy new trials and new customers. This is a screenshot from a recent experiment we started for one of our clients. We're targeting a competitor's keyword and seeing great results, a conversion rate of 14.88% from cold traffic. Here's why we're seeing these results. Our copywriting, we have a great landing page, the results in high quality scores, etc. And then I go on and say, if you're running Google Ads campaigns but not running them against your competitors, then I'd recommend you do that immediately. Would love to hear your experience. So you can see this is very tailored towards my target buyer, my SaaS founder that I work with. It's clearly showing our expertise and our knowledge in the area. People liked it. Like, it wasn't one of my craziest, biggest LinkedIn posts at all, but it's been seen over 7,500 times now. Good amount of engagement, good amount of comments, and a couple people messaging me asking about our services. So I do this consistently all the time, not just on LinkedIn, on other platforms too. I want to recommend that you start sharing helpful, useful content, because people buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. And if you can position yourself as the expert within your niche or within your location, this is a great way to generate incoming leads and a great inbound marketing channel. So use social. You're running social media agencies. Like, do what you sell to other people. Like, eat your own dog food, I believe the term is, right? Anyone can do this. Anyone can just put that content out there. So yeah, please start sharing helpful content. It will really make a difference for you. You won't see results overnight. I've been pursuing and building my personal brand for the last couple of years. So it does take time, but please, I would really recommend that you go ahead and start doing this, because it will definitely help you bring in additional leads for your business. And then number 4, my fourth recommendation is becoming the connector. So I know that some of you will work with local businesses or a specific type of business. Some of you will work with people all around the country, the world. But a really great way to improve your positioning, to show yourself as an expert, to attract more clients, and to build out your credibility in a specific industry is by becoming the connector. And when I say that, I mean whether you're the person that hosts local meetups in your city for your target buyers, whether you're someone that hosts events in your city, maybe you're the person that makes introductions for business owners to each other to help support them. Maybe you want to create an interview series. Let's say you work with restaurants. Why don't you interview the 10 best restaurants in your area? Become that person that's the connector, that's helping out other people, and you'd be really surprised the amount of value that brings back to you. Be that person that connects the dots, makes the introductions. You'll see a load of benefits from this very, very quickly. And then my 5th tip is to actively ask for referrals. This is something that I haven't done enough of in my own agency, and we're just implementing a new referral program now. It's a fact that people would rather do business with people that they know or people that they know of than strangers. So when you're introduced to a prospect through a personal recommendation, they have a much higher comfort level than a buyer that you find through cold email or cold calling, because there's nothing more assuring to them than positive reinforcement from someone that they know and that they trust. So for some reason, many of us don't pursue referrals as much as we should, and I think it's just a habit thing. Like, we haven't built that into our habits yet. So I really recommend that you don't worry about asking for referrals. Don't feel like sheepish about doing it. There's nothing pushy or spammy or strange about it. People will give you referrals if you deserve the referrals. If you're doing a good job for them, then of course they're going to refer you to people. So go away and ask your customer. There's a few ways you can do it. So maybe when you begin working with a new customer, you can make referrals part of your initial agreement. So you could say to them something like, if I do a great job for you and we achieve this, would you agree to give me this many referrals or introduce me to some people that you know? Maybe whenever one of your clients compliments you or says that you've done something really well, that's a great time to ask for a referral. So something like, I'm so pleased you're happy. Do you know anyone else who could benefit from this? Every client meeting is also an opportunity to collect referrals. So there's a number of ways that you can start actively pursuing and asking for referrals, and I think many of us probably don't do this enough. So before we get into the Q&A, just want to share one more thing with all of you, just a quick recap of the agency solution and how Promo Republic stacks up versus the competitors. I'm going to put the call to action button on the screen for one last time. So if there are any calls left, be quick. They might run out pretty soon. But we did this calculation. You can see here we want to be transparent and honest about how Promo Republic stacks up against the other providers. And we did this calculation for an agency that manages, let's say, 30 different social media accounts. You have 5 team members and you want to white label the tool. You want the approval workflow features. Maybe you want to monitor brand mentions and hashtags for your clients too. If you choose Promo Republic, you could save anywhere from $600 to $5,400 every single year versus the other tools available on the market. So let's say Sendable, you can get some similar features available, but they're pricing $9. Buffer, Agora Pulse, Sprout Social, Their pricing again starts from $199 plus $50 for tracking comments. If you want to do this in Hootsuite and get approval workflows, it would be a minimum of $600 a month. So the pricing is very good for Promo Republic. The tool set is very good, and you also get a discount if you use the button that we've shared throughout the webinar too. So it all is broken down into these three core sections. So creation, collaboration, and reporting. We wanted to make sure that we could help you save time, serve more clients, and increase the efficiency of your agency. And it's by improving these three aspects of your agency business. And we do that through helping you with creating content through the content suggestions and the graphics editor. We help you with the client communication through the collaboration platform, where you can gather everything in one place and manage all your clients from here. We help you with the customer business profile, so you can split everything out, and everything else that I showed you. So that's just a quick recap of the agency solution. We're going to jump into the Q&A session in a second. Just one more piece on the recommended tools and resources. So if you remember, I said to you guys at the start of this webinar, I'm actually just going to share my screen again to show this with you. So let me open this up for a second, and then we can continue on. So if you remember at the start of the webinar, I talked to you about a tools and resources section that we're making available for some of you. Let me share the screen and you'll be able to see it. So give me a couple of seconds and it should appear. Application. Here we go. So this is the resource that we put together, the ultimate pack of 60 plus tools for agencies and freelancers by Promo Republic. We list based on category. So we have lead gen tools, personal branding, outreach, proposals, time management, CRM, SEO. The list goes on and on. All of their links, all of their pricing, a bit about all of these tools. So if you do want access to this, everybody who schedules a call with the team, once you finish the call, you will be given a copy of that resource as well for you to take away and use. So that's everything for today's webinar. If you are going to leave us now, I want to say a big thank you for joining us. I hope you found this really useful and helpful. We run these webinars every 2 weeks. So yeah, if you leave us now, thank you. I hope I'll see you again soon. I hope you found this valuable. But now we will pause and take questions. So I can take questions for the next 5 or 10 minutes if anybody has them. So please start typing them away now and get them in. I will also just make one brief ask from you, just personally. If you have enjoyed the webinar, if you found kind of my style useful and helpful, and you found some value from this, as I said to you, I work. I put a lot of other content out there on my own too to help other agency owners, other freelancers build out their businesses. I'm always trying to provide value. I relaunched my YouTube channel a few months ago, so I'm putting the link to that YouTube channel in the chat box. If you don't do anything else, please go ahead and if you enjoyed this, check out my YouTube channel. If you enjoy it, subscribe as well. That'd be a great way for us to keep in contact. And if anyone else needs the link for scheduling a call with a Promo Republic team, let me know and I can dig it up one more time if there are still some calls available, but I don't think there are. I'm not too sure. So yeah, that's it. If anyone has questions, please bring them in now. And yeah, I can sit here and take them. So it can be questions on lead generation, general agency stuff. If you have Promo Republic questions, then I can try and answer them, try and help them. Okay, so Karen has asked for the link. Karen, I'm going to put it in the chat box. I'm not sure if it will let you book. Let's see. Give it a go and see what happens. It's in the chat box now. So yeah, does anybody else have questions? So Ernesto says, with the video email outreach with GDPR rules, would it be hard to have a good reach? So Ernesto, that really depends on what kind of clients you're reaching out to, where you're based. So GDPR is Europe based, right? I am really just working with clients in the US and North America. I'm still reaching out to European clients too with videos because I think I'm happy to run that risk slightly because I'm providing value to them. I'm genuinely helping them and I know that they would have interest in it. You just have to be careful, I guess. It's not something that I would do at scale. So Joel has asked, what's the best way to get testimonials on Google My Business? Joel, unfortunately, I would not be able to answer that question because I have no idea. I don't work with that kind of stuff personally. I don't work with businesses that use Google My Business. But could anyone else here help Joel? Because I know we have some people that are doing a lot of work with that. One other great thing I didn't mention about the Promo Republic agency solution is it's one of the few that has a direct integration now with Google My Business as well, Joel. There you go, Joel. So James is offering some help, and so is Maria. Thanks, Karma. I'm glad you found this helpful. Yeah, please do go ahead, schedule a call and see if it's something that will be beneficial for you. There'll be no pushing or anything like that. I want to thank all of you for attending this webinar too. It's really great to see a number of new people here, a number of people returning as well. We want to continue to build out this agency community and get more people into this community so we can continue to support each other. So yeah, it's good to see so many of you here. Thanks, Joel. I appreciate that. And Jim, yeah, of course I can. So this slide. Awesome. Maria, thank you for sharing all that help there for Joel. No problem, Andrew. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions before we wrap things up? I'll give you 1 or 2 more minutes, and if I don't have any other questions come in, I will close down the webinar. But thank you everyone for coming, and I hope I see you on the next webinar in a couple of weeks' time. Great. Okay, I'm going to shut things down now. So thanks everyone, and I will see you all again very, very soon.